Guys, Ronin Man here. Hey, thanks for all the great comments. I'm just loving the comments. Really thoughtful and intense, like learning stuff all the time. Got some comments from Australia. Probably going to do another episode on Australia here soon. This thing is not attached to any one country. Feminism and the issues that MGTOW face, the MGTOW movement is not attached to any sex, any age, any country, any culture, any ethnicity. It really, MGTOW is really one of the most, I would say, if you look at the different MGTOW channels, you can see for yourself, it's a really wide variety of men. It's really touching a serious need for men. So, I even for myself, like doing these episodes, I learn stuff all the time. Like I'm getting like so into this even more than before. Like actually forcing me to think about it has actually brought, I don't know, just kind of made me realize how serious this stuff is, So either way, so thanks a lot. Hey, thanks for supporting. Really appreciate any kind of shares, any comments. There's twitter.com / is it roninmgtow or Ronin Man? Let me check here. I always forget. Where is Ronin Man MGTOW? That's the Twitter channel. Yeah. So back to the topic. We talk about a few different things I saw in the news, and I wanted to talk about them. One of them is this one here, looking at Mexico's sexualized. Okay, so the word sexualized. What does that mean? What is sexualized? Do you guys know what that means? I think everybody would pretty much agree that we're all sexual creatures. If even that is like I hate, to be honest, vocabulary sometimes just can't cover the depth of human experience. But let's just say we all have sex. We're all interested in sex. We were born through sex. Sex is one of the biggest, things in media and sales, and something we think about a lot. Obviously disagreements how many times per day and all that, but definitely it's a huge thing, right? So sexualized women. I don't even know what that means. I really don't really know what that means. I mean, women are sexual creatures. Men are sexual creatures. But they're obviously, we know what they're trying to say here. What they're trying to say is they're too sexy, Because what they're not saying here is something really key. That's when you read these articles, you have to kind of think, what are they not saying here? Okay, the thing they're not saying, and this is the interesting thing, it's actually quite, it's actually essential is to think about this, is realize that they're not saying that these women are not good weather reporters. So for example, if they were miscalculating, if they were misjudging the weather, if they didn't understand what they're talking about, if they were unprofessional, that would be something that would be definitely talked about. It's like, some kind of a study of older, ugly women and their ability to forecast the weather and to like their basically their correct percentage, right? How often are they right? And then the other women who are younger and prettier, how they were wrong, right? So that would be something that you would see often. Like, so for example, if somebody's not performing right and they're upset about it, but that's not the problem. And that's the funny thing, is there is no problem here. There's no problem. I mean, anybody can be anything they want to be, right? We can all be whatever we want to be, right? It's like that thing, especially now in today's age, whatever we want to be. I just watched somebody sent me this scary video of this a woman bodybuilder. I don't even want to post it. It was so scary, but she was absolutely massive. Obviously she's pumped up on steroids, but she was having kind of a steroid rage and she had no shirt on, but it wasn't attractive. But yeah, we can do whatever we want these days, and everybody can, right? So I don't understand why this is an issue. I just really don't. I think that the feminists with this one, as I've said before, they're trying to clamp down on anything that you like or do. So they're studying you and finding out anything that you like or do, and they're making that wrong, illegal, and it's just another clamp on you, right? It's another clamp. And you have to listen to the other episodes to really get what I'm talking about, but I don't want to go into too much. But they're clamping you down. You can't do this, you can't do this. If you do this, you go to prison. If you do this, so it's like one thing after the other. You can't say these words, you can't do these things. And in this case, I guess, they're not blaming the women here. In any of the reports I've read, they never blame the women. That's interesting. So for example, if somebody's doing something wrong and the media is reporting on it, right? you would, you know what I mean? You'd blame like the people in the report, right? Not the weather, not the news, right? But they're just saying that like the men, or sorry, not the audience, right? But so the women are applying for these jobs, and they're obviously, if they're not doing a good job of reporting the weather, then the media is doing a terrible job of reporting on that. And I would seriously doubt that, just because it's such low-hanging fruit that if these women were not good at their jobs, if they were not professional, knowledgeable, expert weather people, they'd be off the screen, right? But that's not the case. That is, the funny thing is, that is not what anybody's talking about. They are upset that the women are basically good looking, right? That's what women are upset about. They don't like to see prettier women on the news, on TV. They want to have more and more women that guys don't want to look at, right? That's really the goal, because it puts a lot of pressure on the average fat woman when she sees these pretty women and their husband, his eyes light up, and she doesn't like that. It's like, no more pretty women. I'm going to do an episode on stewardesses and air hostesses, flight, what do they call them? I can't even think in English, but attendants on the airplane, men and women. I'm going to do an episode on that because I think it's quite interesting how things have changed over the years. Excuse me, my voice. But okay, so let's go quickly over this. So basically, what do you see here? You see a woman. Just going to say right off the bat, she's not my type. I'm not here to say, oh, she's so hot, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying that a lot of guys would think this is very, very hot. I like the smaller Asian look, personally. 40 kilograms, little cutie pie. But I can see this is attractive. I can say this. The funny thing about guys and girls too is when you find something, like let's say you have your type, but you still look at everything else. It's like if it's attractive to any man, it kind of catches my eye. I don't know why that is. It's the strangest thing. Like I'll find my eye being caught when I'm walking, and I'll look over, and you're like logically I'll think that's not my type, but I still find my eyes going there. So it's something there. It's something in humans that we still look at it, right? So I still see this as very attractive, even though it's not my type. But here we go. There's women. They are pretty, and you can see that this is, in your life. I mean, I don't know how many times you've heard this before, but there's the idea of when a woman is basically prettier than the average woman, it's very threatening to other women, and they don't like it. So they're always trying to take them down, right? No one talks about this. I mean, this is so brutal. These are nice women. They're good weather reporters. What the hell's wrong with the fact that they're pretty, And the thing is, on TV, it's a visual medium, right? If we had somebody on, for example, it's they say she's got a voice for radio, right? Because she's not, or she's got a face for radio, sorry, because it's not a pretty face, right? So you think the message is the medium, like McCollum said back in the 60s, right? So we got this pretty woman and everybody's upset. Let's see what else they got here. So then they're talking about this, but then they also Barbie doll proportions. And now the funny thing about all these articles, what they always do is the same thing. It's really like crazy, really, when you think about it. Okay, so what they're doing is they're rebelling against the media or they're not even rebelling against the media. They're not rebelling against the media at all. They're rebelling against the audiences watching. That's what they're really rebelling. Men watching women on TV. That's what they're trying to police who we can watch. Think about that. But at the same time, this is the hypocrisy never ever ends, because if you ever have an article about what you're not supposed to watch, okay, they always put a lot of pictures of what you're not supposed to watch in the article to get a lot of views. So, you know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to say that you shouldn't watch this stuff, but they know that you're not going to look at their article if it's not full of those things. So really, I don't really know what they're really trying to do, to be honest, because they know that men are still going to want to look at pretty women. I guess what they're trying to do is get corporate sponsors to bully the channels to not have pretty women on TV. I think that's what they're trying to do. I think that you see that a lot with models. They're upset if there's too many pretty women in a modeling shoot. They'll say, well, that's not good. They should have ugly women, and they start to put more ugly women. You're seeing that more and more today. You don't see it for men. You don't see a lot of pressure. You don't see any pressure to put ugly men in women's ads, but a lot of it for women, right? So here's more examples of what they post in the article in order to get attention, so they can talk about not doing the thing that they're doing. That's basically what's going on. So Mexican weather girl, right? Next one. I think there's one more. Yeah, there's a whole video here with different Mexican girls, weather girls. So it's just the same thing. And I don't know. They're policing our minds. They're policing our eyes. They're policing our bodies, our hands, what we can do, what we can think. Even It's really incredible. I just would hope you reject this inside of your mind. Don't let this stuff even infiltrate your mind. Like just realize when this is happening. This is what I'm trying to do with this particular video. I'm going through these different news articles, and I want you, when you're watching them, to try to start to cognitively think about what's going on here. Don't just get angry like, oh, women are this, feminist that. It's about thinking, logical thinking. What's going on here? What's missing here? What's the goal? And what's the real goal? There might be like I said, the goal might seem to be getting not taking these pretty women off TV, but it could very well be something else. It could very, very well be another way to take over the news channels, management. For example, if it's a bunch of men in there, this might be used. There's a lot of reasons why these things happen. So you really have to think about it, because it's not so clear right when you see it, right? Like, what is the thing they're trying to do? I think that the one thing they're not trying to do is they're not trying to judge these women based on their skills, which is the thing that every woman talks about, is like fair money, fair pay. Everybody knows that women get more money on TV for most things, most models. The women get I think it's what is it, 10-1 or something? They get paid 10-1 over men, models. But no one ever talks about that, of course. And in the same sense, and in the same sense that men's sports teams tend to get paid higher because the viewers want to see them. And it's the same thing with what we're looking at here with women. So attractive body is something gets more views, gets more people watching commercials, and it makes more money. So, but they're trying to stop that. At the same time, they're not really trying to stop it, and they're not trying to stop the main thing, which is guys having preferences, right? It's just insanity. I don't know if you have any ideas what you think they're really trying to do here. It's not coming to my mind, but it's just interesting. It's very, very interesting, and I like seeing pretty girls myself. Even as a MGTOW, I don't mind seeing pretty women. I don't really have much need for looking at not pretty women. I mean, it's the same thing. I think it's the same thing with dogs and cat videos too. And I'm sure it's the same for women. Obviously it's the same. They like to see attractive guys. I want to see if I'm going to watch, if someone sends me a cat video, right, or some kind of dog picture or something, if it's cute, I want to look at it, right? If it's not, I don't want to see it, right? Unless it's the ugliest dog competition, then I want to look at it because it's funny, right? It's just being honest. This is just the way we are. What's the point of being fake? I don't even get it. So we don't want to look at women, and it's they're not supposed to be, and even though they're the same quality as the ugly ones, they're no good and they're sexualized somehow. I mean, the ugly ones could be sexy. I mean, to somebody, right? I don't know. Maybe not somebody, possibly, Here's, next article. This is CNN, and you're going to see this all over the place. This is very interesting. CTE found in 99% of studied brains from deceased NFL players, and it's a video. And it was really, it's a well, done study. It's not some kind of fake study. It's a real study, statistically valid. 99% of deceased NFL players' brains that were donated to scientific research in the medical journal JAMA. This study was, and that's a very reputable. I don't know the exact statistics, but I've read JAMA several times, so I know it's up there. This is not fake news. Okay, so next, thing here is 99% of these guys who their brain is donated have CTE. Now, CTE is the same disease. Basically, it's caused, basically they don't know exactly what exactly causes it, but it's in boxers, it's in football players, it's in people who hit their head a lot. So head trauma. So people that, like, for example, if you're in Iraq and there's a bomb goes off, and then in the old days you would just die or lose your legs, but now they have body armor that protects you from dying. But the problem is the trauma is the same on your brain, right? So it's becoming a really serious issue. And why is this? This article came out yesterday. Okay, today is what is it? Thursday. Or I think it was really recently. Okay, this article there was a few articles about 99%. 99%. Okay, so basically what we're talking about here is NFL players are getting CTE, and there's no test for it. So you can't test. The only way you can find out CTE is if somebody dies, dissect the brain, and you find out they had CTE. There's no blood test. There's no living way to test for CTE as of today. But we do know that a very popular sport is causing men to get CTE. That's the other thing is not mentioned, right? They say deceased NFL players. What they're not saying, which is obvious, but at the same time, it needs to be said, male sports players, right? So why is this not being talked about on every news channel? I mean, women's groups, women's TV shows, everybody should be talking about this. This is serious, you guys. 99%. And now, of course, these are the brains that were donated, and I don't know what the criterion was for that. Obviously, it says in the article later that it might be because they thought they had CTE, but it's just becoming more and more common that suicide in the military, suicide of ex-football players is super high. It just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. So we know that it's from concussions. We know it's from head trauma. But again, these are all men. So it's not that big a deal. Society doesn't really care. They're not going to check it out. Aaron Hernandez's brain is going to be examined for CTE. That's interesting. But yeah, he obviously killed somebody, and then he killed himself in prison, right? So let's see here. And he did a lot of erratic things. So CTE makes a lot of sense actually in that case. But why is this not a bigger deal? I personally think that the NFL should be disbanded. I think this is significant enough. Maybe they can do one more study, a statistically valid study, and I think they should close the NFL. Personally, I don't understand people who don't make clear decisions in the world. If 99% of women models were getting a brain injury, which is killing them, they're killing themselves, they're killing their families, they're in depression before they die, this would be stopped immediately, no matter what it was. You can talk all about money and all this stuff you want, but if it was women, this would end, and it would end soon. But it's not going to end because it's men. I don't even want to say that because I really hope that my prediction does come true, that they stop the NFL. I really think that it's just time to end it. This is, sometimes you just got to admit you're wrong in life, It's not a good sport. I played football in high school for 1 year, and luckily I stopped. But I could have just continued playing. I was a decent player. I wasn't a great player, but I was a decent player. I could have kept playing. But I just quit because I wanted to spend more time on the beach, basically. But and also my dad never came to see my games, so I was like, okay, yeah. I thought I was kind of doing it like secretly to make him happy, right? But he didn't come, so thank God he didn't come actually now. But why doesn't society talk about this? Like, this is not a joke. This is like basically all people who play sports that have had their brains studied have CTE. And CTE is super, super serious. And seeking help, there is no help. There's no help for this. There's no drug, there's no surgery, there's nothing you can do. In fact, it's not even going to be diagnosed. There's nothing to help. The only thing that you could do is to stop getting hit in the head. That's the only thing that you could do. But I don't know why society can't stomach these kind of changes. To me, it just makes no sense. I think MGTOWs, we're just like, we're listening to something, we're thinking about something. If it doesn't make any sense, we're like, fuck this. This makes no fucking sense. Like, I don't care if I played football all my life and my son played football. I saw this, I'm going to be like, this is fucked. No way. No way. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You know, you look at all these retired NFL guys, they're so depressed. You know, when they get interviewed, you know, they were like superstars at, you know, the Packers and everything. And then they're interviewed and they're just like so depressed, you know, because they got CTE, right? That's the thing. So I think this is like another sign of just the way that men are just treated like garbage in our society, both by women, by society, by the media, and also by ourselves. You know, why can't we stop this stupid sport that is not working? You know, that it's killing their own players. And, you know, I mean, I'm not against the fact that it exists. I mean, like, it came into existence because people thought it was fun. People played it. Obviously, it was good for your health in many ways. You run around, get more muscle. And it's good for competitive spirit and everything. But now that we know that it basically kills you, right? Getting hit in the head it basically kills you long term. And the worst part is we don't know how many people actually have this that play sports, because this study is kind of saying, this is why I'm so against football now, American football, is because the study said basically, I read all the reports, I read all the news reports. I didn't read the original study on JAMA though, just so you know. I often do, but I didn't this time. But I read all the reports and the news reports, and they basically said, and this one doesn't, but that it goes all the way down to high school. So guys who played high school football, they died later and they were depressed or killed themselves or something, and then they studied their brain. Sure enough, they had CTE. They didn't even play college. They didn't even play pro. So like, I think this type of shit is super serious. It's men being killed and killing themselves, and nobody really cares. And in fact, nobody really wants to think about it. Do you want to think about it? I do. Personally, I can handle this shit. Once I'm done thinking about this, I'm going to go off and have a fantastic day, right? That's just, but I need this. I need to face these issues, you know? And if I have a son, I tell you this, he is not going to play football. No way. He's not going to play any game where his head is going to be impacted. It's just not going to happen. I don't have a son, like I said, but I do like kids. And if I ever have a kid, ain't no way. And any of my friends have kids, I'm going to talk them out of football right away. Because you can play soccer, and soccer, I mean, don't be knee-jerk about things. That's the other thing. I mean, obviously you do head the ball, and the heading is not good for your head. We already know that. And here's this is so good. I might have seen this in another MGTOW channel. I can't remember where I saw it, but they did a study of women, female soccer players who head the ball. And they were saying that heading impacts women's brains more than men's, which is, can you even think about that? I mean, it's like, this is the level we're at. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, here we have men dying, and women, you know, supposedly affected more by that thing. The reason is that there was more brain in the front, and the men had less and more thicker skull. Whatever. This is a crazy conclusion to jump to. Absolutely crazy. What any intelligent scientist would do if they found any kind of trauma to the brain is they would immediately look for the male counterpart, because there's other humans playing that game. We're mammals. We have similar bodies, right? 2 eyes. We got brain in our head, right? You know, but that's it's always focused on the women. All the studies, and you just got to think, if this was female something. I can't think of a good example because most sports both play, but something that only women do. If there was an only women thing, and it was causing suicide, murder, brain damage, depression, early death, that would be immediately cut, gone. But not for men. Okay, next one here. Oh, here's a classic one. This is a good one. Okay, so this is a really good article, actually. It's about Koreans, and they don't. The funny thing on this article, I'm gonna fill in the blanks where you don't, it's not in there. But they're basically talking about Asians. Okay, Koreans are. I mean, you look at the continent of Asia. Okay, Mongolia was basically the beginning. I mean, the earliest ancestors, human ancestors, came over. The latest researchers from Egypt up to Mongolia, and then spread out from there. Right, Japan was last, right, in Asia because it was an island, right. But basically, they spread out. So we're not seeing a lot of diversity. There is diversity in Asia, obviously, but there's not as much as you would expect. And there is a lot of similar genes, including the alcohol sensitivity gene, where your face turns red when you drink. Common all over Asia, not common in Europe, right? I see it all the time when you go drinking. You're gonna see, and in fact, I hear my Japanese friends, they lament about it all the time, like, why do I have this thing? And apparently there's like a drug now they can take, a pill that gets your face doesn't turn red anymore, but even though you have this gene variant, right? But one thing is this one here is classic. So they're saying Koreans, but again, let's just say generally in Asia, right, don't have to wear deodorant. And they went through this thing. It all traces back to a gene that's called ABCC11. And basically what this does is it regulates whether you produce underarm odor or not. So Asian girls, if you ever slept with an Asian girl, you'll realize right away that they don't have as much smell under their arms. Just fact. It's fact. This is the way it is, And you will have, obviously, you have the bell curve, right? You have a variety of people, and you also have a variety of sanitation standards for different people in different countries in different areas, and people near the beach and people in the mountains. It's different, but in general, you'll see one of the first things you notice is Asian girls don't have a strong odor under the arm, right? That's one thing. But what they don't talk about here, and I can't understand why they can't be honest, is we're talking about odor all over the body, okay? And like I said before in the Searching for the Best Pussy episode, is Asians tend to have the best smelling pussies of all. There's other physical characteristics that make, I believe, the pussy superior, but in Asia, but I think most importantly in this particular ABCC11 is that the sweat gene, okay, the smell gene, is Asians is very common, right? 97% of people who are European or African descent have the smelly underarm sweat gene. Okay, so that's the kind of that's basically what we're looking at here. Let's see here, 2%. What was the percentage? The percentage of Asians who don't have it. Either way, let's go down here. 7 stinky armpits. They go into different groups. I'd like to go back and read the study, but either way, it's a common thing. You're going to see it. You're going to see it with the armpits. You're going to see it with anywhere that's smelly on the human body. You're going to have less smell with Asians. So if you're gay, Asian guys, right? If you're straight, Asian girls, you're going to notice it right away. And it's something that a lot of people are sensitive about. And probably the reason why they don't, actually, I just thought of this. Probably the reason why they don't talk about the pussy smelling better is because it's just too sensitive. It's just too sensitive because, and like we talked about in the Google Everybody Lies episode, Google search results, is that men are they search often, and obviously in real life, talk about their penis. It's a big issue, right? Everybody makes fun of that. Everybody talks about that. And so it was assumed that men are unique in that. But actually what secret Google searches showed is that women do just as many searches about their genitalia, except it's different. They don't search about the size. They search about the smell. They're worried about the smell of their vagina. And so they're searching for solutions, different, whatever potion or way of cleaning or way of what to eat, different things they can do, different clothes. How can they not have that odor down there? It's a really sensitive topic for women, and you see it in their Google searches, right? So this is exactly the reason why. It's the same reason why you don't see a lot of studies on IQ between races, is because anytime there's a difference on these kind of things that really matter to people, it's like no one wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about Asian girls having better smelling pussies, right? and better smelling underarms, which is another big thing, right? When you're making out and licking her all over, it makes a big difference if it smells terrible, right? Asian girls tend to smell better. They don't have that gene. They don't have that gene. Maybe someday we'll be able to, take it out of our bodies and get rid of that smelly armpit gene. That would be great. Obviously it's not going to have any bad effects. It hasn't in Asia, it won't on us. But either way, that's facts. But again, you're never going to read about it. Never going to hear about the pussy smell, superiority of smell. You're never going to, because it's just, this is stuff that, women would just go insane if they read this, but it's the truth and everybody knows it. So stop the fucking politically correct bullshit. If it's true, at least you should know it as a MGTOW, right? You don't have to do anything. Maybe you like smelly girls. I don't know. I know some people actually, that's a fetish. Some people actually love smelly girls. There was a girl in Japan who was famous for wanting to date really smelly guys, and she would go and blow. This is true. They actually caught her in the act. She would go and blow homeless guys because she loved the smell. It was like hilarious. The guy, because what happened was the reporter didn't believe it. He went undercover, acted like a homeless guy, and then he woke up and the girl was blowing him. He went right where she was like supposedly doing her deed, and he woke up and she was actually blowing him. He was like, I cannot believe this. This is real. So there was a girl who actually had a fetish about smell. So I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying for me and most guys I know, they are not so into the smell. And obviously, if you look at women and their preferences, they don't want to have a smelly pussy, smelly underarms either. That's why there's so much money put into this anti-smell stuff, right? So, but if you're a guy and you're thinking like, who would I like to bang, spend time with, this is probably pretty important because you can avoid a lot of problems, right? Okay, so next one is talking about sizes of clothes, and basically this article is saying that they should make bigger clothes because women are bigger now. And they're making it look like it's kind of a conspiracy, right? Turns out the average American woman is not a size 14 anymore. Ooh. But basically what they're not saying in here is that times change, people are getting fatter, obesity is rising, and the clothing companies can't go in advance. They have to go behind. They have to wait until the people get fatter, until they start making fat clothes, right? They have to wait. And they don't know how fat people are going to get. The clothing companies have no idea. But they want to sell clothes. They're trying to make the right size, but people are getting fat, in this case, women getting fat so fast that they can't make fat enough clothes fast enough is what really is going on here. And which is the saddest thing about this. But what they're trying to make it look, it's another conspiracy against women, right? 10-year-old data. 10-year-old data is not that long, right? A lot of these factories are in China making these clothes, Bangladesh. These are not they aren't Silicon Valley, right? They're just making clothes, pumping out clothes. I don't know if you've ever been to a clothing factory. I've been to many in China, all over China, and I can tell you these are not. They're not high tech. Okay, like they'll have a couple of computers controlling the place. This is for the good ones, and it'll be like Windows 95 or something, right? A fake version of Windows 95 running the machines and stuff, right? So, or even DOS. They'll have DOS on the computers a lot. In fact, that was something in the Apple. What was it? They had an inside picture of the Apple production facilities in Foxconn, who makes the Apple products in China, and then all the computers were using Windows, and they were using really old versions of Windows, which was hilarious, right? But yeah, I mean, these are not, they're trying to catch up, right? Now women are getting fat so fast, they're not making them fat enough fast enough. So here we have these women, and they're trying to make it look like it's attractive to men, that this is attractive to men. And I know there's all different types. I know some guys listening to this channel are going to love the look of these women, but for many guys, this is like a fat woman, and it's also unhealthy, right? So, it's. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get too deep in this one. This is not like a big issue of mine. I like I said, I like small girls. I like 40 kilos, something like that. Something like something like 90 pounds, 95 pounds. Petite. I like that. And actually, they've done a study of people who like petite women, and they tend to have higher testosterone. And the lower the testosterone is, the more they preferred bigger women. So everybody's got a different chemical makeup, right? So your preferences are shaped a lot by your chemistry, more than you think, actually. So for me, I'm very attracted to the petite ones. and I'm not attracted to the non-petite ones. So to me, this looks like insanity, as you might imagine, right? But I'm not saying it is insanity. I'm not saying nobody would like this that's in these pictures. To me, these women looking pretty large there. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Oh yeah, on the same vein, here's this chick. This is the sun, and supposedly, okay, let's read the headline. Bum in the sun. Gordy Shore, Chloe Ferry shows off her shapely bum, okay, in a very racy thong swimsuit during sunshine break, right, with some guy, or some girl, whatever. Life is one big holiday, blah blah blah. So this is one of our heroes for the women here, obviously in the UK. All eyes were on her. She showed off her very shapely bum while wearing a daring thong swimsuit. So daring. This is another one of these things that they kind of self-report. Daring, right? I don't know. I mean, I guess it is daring because it looks so disgusting. To me, she looks like an elephant, personally. And before you criticize, you got to know, if you're a woman watching this, is that men are visual creatures. And what that means is the same sense as, just here's the way to think about it if you're a woman watching this, or even if you're a guy, you're not really, it seems unfair. Okay, you know how a woman can feel creeped out. So she could be in a bar and a guy can do something and it creeps her out. She literally feels like creepy, like inside of herself. Okay, now guys don't usually have that same internal emotional feeling of creepy. Girls do, and it's really strong, and it's like something that they always talk about, like he's creepy. Well, what is that? But it's a feeling that she has, right? Now, guys are visual creatures. So it's my theory, I've never heard this, but is that the same creepiness, that kind of bad feeling, is the feeling I have when I see a woman who isn't attractive to me. There's something is creepy about it. It's just like completely disgusting to me. Almost like I want to vomit, you know what I mean? Like, and I think it's very similar to the woman's feeling of creepiness, is when there's a woman who's not attractive. And this is not being fair or unfair. It's just the way the human body is. And obviously we were designed this way for a reason, to evolve. But either way, that was my little side touch there. So here she is. I mean, to me, she looks so overweight. I would say, I don't know how many pounds she needs to lose. It's after she loses the weight, she's going to have loose skin. It's going to be bad. That's not going to be attractive even then. But I would say, like, weight-wise, how much do you think she needs to lose weight? The girl on the right, 30 pounds, 40 pounds? I'm not sure, to be honest. But a lot, to get down to a decent weight. But, the human body's like a balloon. And if you blow it up one time too big, it will never be right again, because it'll always have stretch marks all over the balloon. So if you want a balloon, a nice small balloon, you have to get a fresh balloon. You blow it up and then give it to your kid, right? If you blow it up too big and then you let it sag down, it's never going to have the same elasticity, strength, or beauty, right? It's the same with the human skin. If you blow a human being up 400 times, when that human being comes down, it's not going to be the same level of attractiveness. And this would always upsets me. I don't like it when no one talks about this. It affects things, okay? That's why you don't want to get fat, because once you've been fat once, your body, it's not that easy to go back down. It messes things up. So guys, take care of yourself. Don't let yourself go. You don't have much else to do, right? As MGTOWs. There's a few things you want to focus on: making money, getting your body in killer shape. And I mean through yoga, through weightlifting, whatever it is, surfing, whatever it is that you do, that rock climbing that keeps you in shape, right? You want to do that. Don't let yourself go, because don't believe the mainstream media that you can just go down in weight and you're still attractive. You can get that revenge body, right? That revenge body is completely not real, because once she's got fat once and she gets skinny, she's not nearly as attractive as she was in the beginning, right? And men are visual creatures, right? We can't help it. We are the way we are. We're built the way we are. Just like the girls have the feeling of disgust, okay? That feeling of creepiness. That's the way they are. They can't change that. That's an internal thing. It's the same with guys. We can't change, but obviously we can, do our best in this and that, but we have to be honest about the things that are real, right? That's a very real thing. So this girl, to me, obviously is totally disgusting and looks fake. I don't know, her lips look fake. I'm not a huge fan of like dyed hair and a lot of makeup. It just doesn't look good. I mean, to me, she's like so far from attractive. I can't even her hand is fat. You know what I mean? Like, just nothing attractive about her. And the clothes she's wearing there, the colors, it's like, oh my gosh. Then she's got this Chinese tattoo you can see there. It might be Japanese, actually. Yeah, it must be Japanese. But the character for woman there, she's just disgusting. She's got another tattoo there. Look at those hips. I just can't get into that. I'm not gonna. To me, they look like elephant thighs. Disgusting. There's nothing going on. But here she is with a dress on. She looks a little better there. She might be younger there too. And here she is drunk, and she fired her agent on Snapchat. So she's real sweetheart, this one. She was drunk, telling fans that she had an amazing time. She realized her error. She said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm at Sunny Beach. I'm pissed. Sorry." She got her composure, whatever that is. "I had a really good time at Sunny Beach. It was amazing. My next stop is this." So she's drunk. She's fat. And being fat actually is related to being drunk, because alcohol has a lot of calories. So if you're a MGTOW, you want to get in good shape, you got to really think about drinking. Something like weed can be much better for your body than booze is. And here's the last one. I'm just going to say real quick on this one. I want to stop and say the real reason we love. This is what the title should be. Then she puts bad boys, toxic partners, emotionally unavailable men. The reason we love is really what's going on in this article. And you can see in this girl's face. That is the face of a girl in ecstasy. She is so into this guy. And she's saying that he's bad. What did she call him? She calls the people she likes, she calls bad names, right? It's a common thing with girls. They'll like guys and then they'll call them bad words. So if we call a girl a slut, it's like we're really bad. But the guys that girls like, they call bad names all the time. The guys they don't like, they call like terrible names. Short dick in his mom's bedroom, basement, loser, blah blah blah. But the girls, so they call every man bad things. But in this case, the one that they like to fuck, they like the one they want is partners, like sexual partners, and relationship partners. They call bad names too. Nobody gets off the hook with women. Okay, they call them bad boys, toxic partners, emotionally unavailable. This is the men that they like. Okay, and this is the men that it makes them hot and makes their life exciting. So here's the guy, he's smoking. You can see on her face. It's a great picture. It's written by a woman. It's a great picture because it really does say it all right there. Anybody who's seen that look on a girl's face with you, you're doing the right thing. It's just this kind of thing. So basically, she's saying that bad boys, she can't say the basic thing that she loves this guy. And he means a lot to her. Bad boys wreak havoc on our lives, our bodies, and our brains. The reason why we love boys, toxic people, and toxic people is another word, emotionally unavailable partners, is not just emotional, psychological, it's biochemical. And here she goes. The truth of the matter, our brains can be rewired to fixate on people who aren't good for us. It doesn't even make any sense. Like, these kind of articles are so stupid, I can't even start, because this is the type of man she loves. Naturally, okay? Her brain hasn't been rewired from anything. This is what when she's 13 and she's looking around, you know what I mean? She's got the heavy metal guy on the wall, picture on the wall. That's what she likes. Then nothing's been rewired. This is her most pure, natural crushes and likes. It's only after, and this is just anecdotally in your life, women, they go for these bad boys in high school, college, junior high school, after college, 20s, and then 30s, and they get up towards their 40s, and they start to say, okay, I got to rewire myself. I can't just go for these supposed bad boys. Basically, they can't go for the people they like. This is the burden women have, is that they like men, a certain kind of men, but they don't think they should like it because he doesn't give them a lot of money. So guys who don't give them a lot of money are narcissists, the sociopath, unavailable, toxic, bad, emotionally unavailable, everything. Any guy who doesn't give a girl a lot of money and commitment, right? Money is commitment, right? They are bad. The highs and lows of a dangerous romantic relationship, the breakup from a toxic, destructive. What they're saying is the men I like don't give me all the dumb things that I think I need. I can't accept my own body, my own mind, and go with and enjoy my life. I can't, because I want to have a bunch of money. Right? It's like I got to have a lot of money. It's kind of like a guy who, joins a gang to sell drugs because he could see that he could just go to the beach and surf and have a good life and get a basic job and enjoy his life and travel, save up money and travel. But he doesn't want that. He needs to have a lot of money, so he joins a gang to sell drugs or something, right? It's like he needs all this money. This is what girls' real problem is. They think they can't even go with what they really want. But for women, they get it all because they can go with these guys that they really like. Then they can find another guy who subsidizes, finances their life. Then they can go and then they can sleep with these other guys who they liked all along, right? But meanwhile, they heap resentment and bad words on them the whole time. This is the guys that they like. This is the guys that they're taking their panties off for. They're smiling. Their pussy's wet. You know what I mean? They got a glim in their eyes. They get out of bed with like a bounce in their step, right? They go take a shower, feel good, call their friends, text people. That's the guy who makes them feel like this. This is the one that they're totally dissing, right? So don't worry if a girl disses you. You can't win. If you're this guy who really turns girls on and they love you, she's going to call you these bad names. If she doesn't, if she has no emotional reaction to you, she's going to call you other bad names. So just get used to the fact that you're going to be called bad names by girls all the time, either to your face or not, right? So here it's basically like there's no logic to this argument, you know. Let's see, their shady behavior. Let's see here. I think there's not much really else here. The guys that they love, she talks about a little bit about them. They have a plethora of side girls. So women like a man with a plethora of side girls, which is always my advice is to manage several girls, right? But again, I can be berated for that. At the main times we're looking at a women's magazine recommended by women, and the men that women like are the ones that have several girls, right? Because that stops you from being a weak man because you have several girls. You can manage your emotions better. You're less likely to be blackmailed, right? And then here they like to be, what's the other thing? The precipice of commitment, changing, things that upset them emotionally. They love that, right? Always uncertain and sweet talking in bed, right? And they leave the girl guessing about their true intentions. So everybody knows this is what women like. And she's basically like, this is just like a clusterfuck of random ideas that she's throwing out there. But I tried to put in the things I thought was interesting and important. One is that they diss the very guys they like. But I'm just going to go back to that picture because that's the look you want girls to have for you. If you're a MGTOW and you do sleep with women, right, which I do recommend, I think it's very good for your health and you have lower prostate cancer, you should, especially if you're in your 20s, don't miss your 20s, you should have sex. You're missing out because when you get older, it doesn't mean as much. I'm 52. I can give a fuck right now, okay? I'm a completely different person than I was in my 20s. But if you're in your 20s, your teens, 20s, make sure you don't pass up this, this crazy thing that is sex with women. It's this crazy thing. It's not perfect. And you got to protect yourself and you have to understand women and you can't be an asshole and stupid and fall into their trap. But it is an important thing. And that's the look you want on the girl's face, right? And expect that the better job you do, if you find yourself really turning girls on and being what they want, you're going to start called these names, right? Bad boys, toxic partners, and emotionally unavailable. And there were some more words in there. Narcissist, sociopath, pickup artist, a destructive. Let's see what else words here. Toxic. We got that one. Yeah, these are the kind of words that you should take as a huge compliment. Now, don't say anything, right? Don't obviously never be a black box. I mean, obviously don't show that you know this stuff, right? Just secretly go home and say, wow, she called me that. Like, oh my gosh. And then start to think about it, right? Because you might be wrong. She might be calling you that for another reason. But if you think about it and she's actually got all wet, you just fucked her and she's all excited, then you go, God, I'm doing a good job, right? Pat yourself on the back because no one else is going to do it. No one else is going to do it. No one else. They're going to pat you on the back for marrying a girl and giving all your money on the wedding day, and that's it. You get fucked in the ass the rest of your life. But if anything good happens, you have to notice it, pat yourself on the back, and then move on with your day. Get some more wisdom. Don't fall into what society thinks, and go along with what they tell you to do because it will not work. So Ronin Man signing off. I'm off to yoga, which is freaking awesome, and don't believe anybody says yoga's for girls and it's stupid and yoga is freaking awesome. It's a man's thing. You get man's yoga, you fucking will feel so good. Cannot tell you. Don't stop searching. I didn't find yoga until like 6 months ago, and I'm a very physical person. I just finally found, just because my friend, this guy friend of mine, he has another yoga studio. He's opening up. He's, hey, would you come fill in the class because you don't have enough people? And he's like, there's a lot of girls. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go. That's how I started, actually. That's how I got into yoga. So keep looking, keep learning, keep moving forward. Don't listen to what people say. Always have a brain and pat yourself on the back. All right, Ronin Man signing off.